to the Investigators Report, an in-depth look at some of the world's greatest mysteries and topics of interest. So for the next hour, we ask you to sit back, relax, and fasten your seatbelts as we explore and detail areas in our history, ancient history, biblical history, world religion and philosophy, and unexplained phenomena. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Gary Purefoy once again with another session of the Investigators Report. And as always, we are extremely glad to have you with us. And we are certainly very, very excited once again to bring back the other half of the Swerdlow team. Now, last week we had Janet Swerdlow. This week we bring back Mr. Stewart Swerdlow. And we're very excited to bring him back. And what we're going to talk about will certainly be of great interest as well. And Stewart, first let me welcome you back to the Investigators Report.
Thank you. It's very good to be back.
And now what we're going to do to establish our line of discussion in this particular program, which is really we're taking this from your book, which is available on your website at expansions.com, which is entitled Blue Blood, True Blood, Conflict and Creation. There's also a DVD available about this. So we're going to talk about that particular subject, but to establish that, and I need you can corroborate with me, Stuart, you have been declared and known to be a clairvoyant and medical intuitive with the ability to see auric fields and personal archetypes, and you can read DNA sequences and mind patterns. Okay.
That's all correct.
All right. Now, your great uncle, who was Yakov Swerdlow. Okay, I tried to say that the Russian way, but it didn't work. Swerdlow, okay, was the first president of the Soviet Union. Okay, that was your great uncle. Your grandfather helped establish the first Communist Party here in the United States in the 30s.
That's right, and my grandmother was a Soviet spy in World War II.
Okay, now subsequent to that, in order to ensure your loyalty to the state once coming over, the government, our United States government, inducted you, if not recruited you, as a mind-controlled test subject in several government projects, and whereas you underwent several experiments which enhanced your abilities. And talk a little bit about that to establish your background and where a lot of this information that we're going to discuss came from.
Well, it wasn't like they recruited me. It was just, come with us, and that's the end of that.
Right.
There was no discussion or there was no request. You were just taken. And that was because of my family background. My father also, during the Korean War, was sequestered in a base under a mountain near El Paso and was basically kept there till the end of the Korean War and was monitored for many years after that by Secret Service. So even right through till today, my family is monitored by the American government. Mail is open, phone calls are always tapped. That's just the way of life. I don't know any other way of life except that way. So when I was very young, and even from a very small child, and I wrote about this in the Montauk Project Alien Connection book, which is my autobiography, I had many experiences where I was taken by government, by alien beings, many astral entities connecting. It was quite a terrible early childhood. In fact, I tell people I never really had a childhood. I was an adult from the moment of birth. And even my birth was unusual, which I describe in that autobiography, where my mother was taken to a hospital that wasn't even open yet when she went into labor. And they told her that there was no way she could even be pregnant because she did not have a birth canal. There was no way for her to become pregnant. And so they took her into this wing of a hospital that had no heat, no finishing touches on it. They said there just happened to be a doctor from Texas in the area who was an expert in such condition, and they performed surgery on her while she was in labor to create a birth channel for me to be born. And even then, they had to pull me forcefully out, and I was told I was quite banged up when that happened. So even from birth, I had very unusual life. I was always psychic. I could read thoughts. I knew what people were thinking. I knew what they were feeling. I could see things. I saw dead people. I spoke to them. And of course, as a child, the age of 13, I was taken to Montauk Project on the eastern end of Long Island. And we actually lived not too far from there at that time. And for 13 years, from 1970 to 1983, I was part of that Montauk Project, creating mind control experiments that they used. I was part of a phase where they were trying to create a person who can see into other realities without the use of a device. Mm-hmm. And so, unfortunately for me, when that happened, I became physically blind. I could not physically see, but they recalibrated parts of my brain to perceive reality energetically, so that even though my eyes didn't function like normal human eyes, I could see energy fields, I could see auras, I could see thought patterns, DNA sequences, into what we call hyperspace, mm-hmm. which is the zone of no time, no space, pure energy, pure thought. And that's how I operated for 29 years, until I had surgery to reconnect the way my optic nerves align with my brain, and then I was able to physically see as an overlay to the energy patterns. And that's how I do my work now. I look at a person, I see their energy, I see their physical body, I see their thoughts, their DNA. Sometimes I see their dead relatives or friends around them if they are there to communicate. And that's how I do my work and help people to deprogram from any mind control experiments that they may have been part of. And unfortunately, on our planet today, 100% of people have some layer or intensity of mind control and programming in them. It's just right across the board.
Now, just a quick question in regards to mind control, because in addition to being an actual subject where you're taken in, tested, going through different procedures, is it possible that one could be subjected to a mind control such program on a remote basis where these things could be delivered to them, whether it be through a TV, radio, or what have you?
Well, that's how it's done now. In fact, I would say from the early 90s onward, most mind control installation is done via satellite transmission, and also a secondary pulse of mind control is done through radio, television, cell tower, etc. Even the electrical system in your home conducts mind control waves. People don't realize that the power stations literally create these patterns, these extra electrical impulses that they don't need to power anything. They dump it into the ground, and the ground becomes like a conductor, and it spreads out into local areas, and it just literally oozes into your house. And then satellite transmissions can embed that extra energy that's like in your home, in your walls, in your equipment, in your atmosphere of your home. Mm-hmm. And they embed that with mind control imprinting that then become part of your own mind pattern.
We certainly would have to devote a show somewhere down the road to that particular process, because you've done some lectures on mind control, the history of mind control as well. So, and have done a very effective job at it as well. I've heard one of your lectures on mind control, and it was very, very interesting and very, very informative. And now, with the topic that we're going to discuss tonight, just to establish where we are as a team here, folks. You know, I've had conversations with Stewart and Janet off the air as well, and I've gone through their website through and through, understanding many of the books and the literature they have available. And as I've done on the previous shows, I do again, you certainly want to visit that site, expansions.com, because what you're going to hear, folks, is not just theory, not just conjecture. You know, it is simply from my own personal experience in coming across Stewart's work, is that once you listen to what is being presented, you listen to the evidence, it enables you to answer questions. Because I know a lot of people will have questions in regards to the royal family. Will have a lot of questions in regards